All right.
Just give me a sec. I'm just waiting for Rachel to stop crinkling plastic right next to me.
It's like the worst thing you could do.
Right, exactly. I'm recording a podcast. She's like, okay, just give me a minute. And she walks over and she's just like looking at yarn packets like next to me, crunching them. Like, are you serious? What's up, guys, and welcome to episode 1 of our coffee and beer fueled general gaming podcast. I am your host, Vin Hill, and joining me as always is my co-host from the opposite time zone, Evan Piotrowski.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
And good night. That's it. It's the end of the podcast. Good luck.
Yep. Whew. Wow, this is getting really easy.
Right, episode 1, it's already done.
It's going to take me a minute, however long it took us to speak, to edit. I don't think I have to cut anything out.
Yeah, it was pretty perfect. All right, so welcome to episode 1 of our podcast, I guess. Like, this is a continuation from what we were doing before, which was Podcast Reload. So if you're sort of joining us from that crowd, then welcome, or welcome back, I should say. If you've never listened to us before, then welcome altogether, I guess. Like, I can't talk. Like, how are we doing a podcast when I can't talk? But
we'll push through. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, previously Podcast Reload, we did that for 58 episodes, and we're just changing the name. Basically, everything should essentially be the same. But it'll mostly be Vin and myself. Bi-weekly, we will get guests on when we can, but just doing it twice a month, the two of us will allow us to get episodes out in a timely manner. So that's pretty much one of the only reasons, the only changes.
Yeah,
so,
yes. I think the quality is going to go up as well. Not that the quality was bad or anything before, but I think, just being consistent with the same quality that we want by having it bi-weekly, because then we can have real topics to talk about and we can have a good think about them before we actually talk about them. Because our topics, normally we have like this sort of op-ed sort of style to our topics. Like we'll talk about stuff which isn't just like general gaming news or whatever. Like, we're going to bring that stuff up now and then, obviously, but I think like our main drive that we've always had is coming up with these weird topics which other people really aren't talking about, and we're just we're getting into why we love video games and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully you'll join us and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. And if you want to follow us, I'm going to put this in the start. We're not normally going to do this, but if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can find us at Coffee Beer Cast. Go and follow us over there, and over the coming weeks, you'll start to see us populate various areas of the internet once we've set up podcast services in various different places as well. At the moment, we're probably just going to do it through YouTube for the first couple of episodes until we sort of get up and running, but we'll be spreading around. So make sure you follow us on Coffee Beer Cast on Twitter, and then you'll see us floating around and when the next episode's out and all that sort of good stuff. But saying that, we very, very stupidly decided to do our first episode in like the craziest time of year when everything we were just saying like, we do like these cool op-ed style like discussions, and now we're just going to talk about gaming news for a whole episode because we sort of have to, because it's E3, right? It's our Christmas, as it were. So
right, and this is the coffee and beer podcast, and I'm drinking water.
I've got water and coffee, so that's pretty close to beer. They actually say like if you're underhydrated for a certain amount of time and you drink water, then you sort of get the same effects as if you would if you were drunk. So kind of counts. Like that could be beer, right?
Fair enough. Yeah, I went to a beer festival yesterday, and then I came home and drank till 3 a.m. on the beer umvirate talking about E3.
Oh, there you go. So no, you're all filled up.
Yeah, water will be good for me. So not only are we not doing the op-ed, we're not even following what the whole basis of the name of the podcast. So that's a nice start for episode 1.
Nailing it. Mm-hmm. This is how start as you mean to go on and all that sort of stuff, right?
Right. All right. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's dive into it. E3 2019. It's been a pretty sort of up and down conference, I would say. I mean, how do you feel about it? Like, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
It's a bit different for me. Weirdly enough, I didn't get my annual kind of cold that I usually get around like June 13th, June 14th every year, and I miss a day of work.
That's good.
Yeah, I was I was health for better or for worse. I was healthy, so I didn't get that one day where I could sit on the couch, open like Twitch chat, and kind of watch a press conference with people. I didn't get
Right.
that, so I woke up to all the news just because the time zone difference is so bad. It's actually really bad for Japan.
Yeah.
Everything is so late or so early.
Yeah, for people that are new to the podcast, like in 2016, was it? Like when we hung out, or 20? Yeah, it was 2016, E3 2016, I think it was. But Evan actually came over to my house and we all hung out and we watched the show. But because we were both living in Japan at the time, um, yeah, I think we pulled an all nighter that night, and we just like Sony was at like 9 o'clock in the morning after an all nighter after Xbox, and it was just ridiculous, like the whole thing. But
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't get that kind of gamer Christmas kind of feel for this E3 per se.
okay.
It wasn't a bad show. It just wasn't amazing. Like I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean the sort of phrase that comes to mind. It was very it was quantity over quality. A lot of it, you know. So there was a lot of stuff shown, but there wasn't really that much gameplay. Like throughout
Yeah.
most of the conferences, and I get like it was that sort of we're in that weird sort of season at the minute where we're ramping down from a generation and ramping up to another one, and
Right.
this is probably like the worst year like E3 is probably going to have like for that because we're sort of wedged in between this really awkward sort of marketing phase for these companies, I guess. But there just really wasn't that much gameplay, and I kind of feel like Xbox with I think a lot of the drive for this E3 was Xbox announcing a new console, and everyone was sort of expecting that, and you know there's rumors flying around everywhere, and it was sort of the right time because Sony wasn't going to be at this conference, and it was kind of Xbox's turn to like, all right, no one else is here, nothing is getting in the way. Now is the time to like, here's the console, here's some games that are going to be on the console. Look how awesome our company is, and that was their opportunity to do it. And they sort of dropped the ball on that, to be honest, like the way that I saw it, because it wasn't the reveal that it should have been, and like all that really came out of it was like a few specs, which are probably going to change in the next year and a half, and a code name for the console, which isn't the final name. They didn't show any box, they didn't show any console. It just felt really weird, you know, like it was this big build up to something that just was really anticlimactic at the end.
Right. Well, I mean, look at the announcements of this generation in 2014. You know, PlayStation did its own thing in what, February or March, and then
Right.
they showed the console at E3, and then it came out later that year. And Xbox did the same thing, and this time we're getting a next year Q4 or what, holiday 2020
Yeah.
type of thing. So that's a bit different because they announced it and it was coming out months later, and now it's like over like a year and a half.
Yeah.
So next year they're gonna obviously blow it out. Xbox
Right. I
will.
mean, I was saying this to my wife as well, like the whole time that we were watching E3. It was just because there was so much sort of like held back, and you can tell like next year is just going to be insane, like in terms of like just blowing everything out. Like every game that we're probably going to see at E3 next year is probably going to be like a good more than half of them are going to be next gen, I would say, because just how much they held back. Like I was really surprised that Halo Infinite was the only game that we really saw for next gen, and that didn't, you know, it looked cool and stuff. Like it was a nice CG trailer, I guess. But I know it was in game, but like to like the normal person, it's like yeah, it's not gameplay, quote unquote, you know. So like it's not Master Chief running around shooting things. And
Right.
seeing that in next generation sort of graphics, like we didn't see that, so it really fell short for me, and I just don't, I just don't really know. It just makes me think that Xbox really weren't ready for this opportunity that was sort of shoved onto them from Sony almost. You know, it's like, hey, you guys better be ready because we're not, and we're going to skip the conference this year. You know, and they just weren't apparently. So,
Do you think? So what does Sony do? Because I'm guessing the PlayStation 5 will come out next year, holiday season as well. Maybe 2020 November ish.
yeah, I think they're going to be
come
hitting.
back?
Yeah, I
Do they
think they're
come
going to be
back to
hitting.
E3?
I think they're going to hit the exact same windows as what they did with this generation. So around February, we're probably going to get an announcement for a random conference that they're going to do to show off like the specs of the thing, and you know, like maybe a few tech demos and maybe even a controller in a box. But I don't think there's going to be that many games at that. That's probably purely going to be for the hardware. And then at E3, I'm pretty sure they're going to come back at E3. And if they don't, then they're at least going to do a sort of digital conference. It's the thing that really discouraged me this year, and I think this is the reason why Sony is probably going to leave E3 altogether in time, is because of all the leaks that have happened this year.
Right. The last couple of years have been particularly bad.
This year was really, really bad. I mean, I was there's obviously the usual suspects, like Ubisoft have a lot of bad leaks and stuff, but pretty much everything leaked this year, like of worth to say to the public, everything. Like all of Scarlet stuff leaked beforehand. Halo's release window leaked beforehand. Just everything. Like it was nuts. Yeah. Like there's so much, like all the good heavy hitters, like Elden Ring, the From Software game, that leaked. A load of stuff leaked. So it's sort of
that might have been the best reveal if that hadn't leaked.
Right.
It would have been like,
yeah, it would have.
I remember seeing that story and I was like, what?
Mm-hmm.
George R.R. Martin and From Soft? Like, what the hell are you talking about?
That would have been bananas. Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah.
But I think that damages it though, and I think that sort of gives credit to people like Nintendo that are doing digital only conferences, and their stuff doesn't leak a lot of the time because it's digital only, and they can sort of contain that a lot better than having posters up in a convention center for like a couple of days beforehand, and a lot of that stuff just bleeds out, unfortunately. So I'm not sure if Sony's going to come back. I hope they do, but we'll see, I guess. But overall, I mean, it was a solid E3 in terms of the sheer amount of games we got. I just wish we saw a bit more sort of gameplay over it. That was all.
Yeah. All right. So I think what we're going to do is top 5 highlights, right? And then honorable mentions. Do you want to just... we'll do the highlights first, maybe then do the honorable mentions?
Or... Yeah. Well, I mean, we can just take it in turns, I guess.
Okay.
And if anything jumps up in between them, we can just like chip away at it and talk about it.
Okay, so we'll go one for one for our top 5, and this could really be anything from the conference, except we're going to split games that didn't show gameplay. That's going to be specifically for honorable mentions.
Mm-hmm.
Any games that we talk about in our top 5 will be games that actually had gameplay shown.
Pretty much,
and some other things.
Yeah.
There's one thing I had to wedge in there.
Yeah, there's a couple of exceptions, but it's not like they're not too far out of that vein of things. But
right,
yeah.
Okay, my list is not necessarily in order, so I guess we can just go one for one. Vin, what is your first highlight?
Yep. So my first highlight is actually Doom Eternal, and the first Doom, quote unquote, the 2016 Doom, blew me away. Like I wasn't expecting how good it was going to be. Like I saw the gameplay and stuff, and I was like, it's just like it's another shooter sort of thing. But once like you play it and you just realize how fun it is, I was really, really looking forward to like a sequel to it. And Doom Eternal is shaping up to be the perfect sequel, I guess. I the first time I played Doom 2016 and like you went to hell, that was just like the craziest thing in the world. I was like, how the hell are they going to top that in Doom Eternal? And then this one you go to heaven, and it's like
that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
I did not expect that at all.
No, me either. And they show gameplay for it, so it's like spoiler free, of course. But it's like you see all like the pearly gates and stuff there, and I was like, that can't be heaven, can it? And then like they mentioned it, and I was like, holy shit, that's hilarious. So.
Yeah, I guess we can just overlap a bit. This is one of my 5 highlights as well.
Right.
I just played Doom 2016 earlier this year for the first time, and it was one of those, why the hell did I wait so long to play this type of games? I love what I see here. I love the grappling hook, more verticality to the arena areas. Looks like I've heard really good things from people walking away from E3 that have played that game.
Yeah.
It looks like... enemies show damage, and that I think that goes into how you just kill enemies, like destroying their armor to get ammo or killing them other ways to get health type of thing. So like whichever one you need more, you can kill them in a specific way to get the ammo or the health, because especially on hard, you die very quickly in Doom. So and there's no reload, so you do get into these situations where it's like, I need ammo for my shotgun. Where the hell? And you're running around the level as everyone's trying to chase you and kill you. So
yeah,
if you can tackle enemies in specific ways in order to choose whether you get ammo or health, I just think that adds another layer to the madness.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things like on paper, the way that they sort of talked about, it's like, that could sort of ruin the perfect sort of like dance that you do in the first game, like in the 2016 Doom game. But just the way people have been talking about it, like as they've been coming away from the booths, like actually playing the game, they're just like, no, like it completely adds to it. Like the first time I heard that in Doom Eternal that they're gonna have an extra life attached to the character now. So if you die, you've got an extra life to come back, or you can.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can gain the ability to get the extra life, and I was like, that sort of ruins it. But what people have been saying is because they've made the game even harder. So like if you come up against like a hell baron or something like that, and he can hit you like twice and you're out, sort of thing. Like having an extra life like adds sort of tactics to it almost. And a lot of people are saying good things about that. But like if someone had told me that before, like anyone had played it and they could give that sort of feedback, if I read that on like one of the bullet points about the game that was coming out, I would have been like, that sounds a bit. I don't think that's going to work. But just the way people are talking about it, they say no, it adds way more to it, especially with the verticality and just the traversal stuff and how you get around. There's a lot more of that as well, and just that whole what they call push forward combat. The whole you've just got to keep moving, otherwise you're dead, pretty much.
Right.
And they're sort of saying all these elements that they've sort of added to it, like make the game even better in that respect. So I'm really excited about it. It's going to be awesome. Them boys know what they're doing.
The last thing I'll say about this game, and this is something that no one's ever really said about a Doom game, probably until Doom 2016, is I'm interested in the story aspect of it because they did such a good job with the like audio files and archives. It was just like, this is something I'd never really expected, and this is an ongoing joke on the Beer Umvirate that Matt makes fun of me for not like reading and paying attention to like story in games. Which is kind of true. Like Octopath Traveler, he was telling me all this stuff. I'm like, that didn't happen. He's like, dude, you fucking read this game? I was like, actually, no, I skip a lot of the dialogue.
Right.
But this is one of those games where I actually paused the game, which I usually don't do. Paused the game and went in to read all of the interesting notes on enemies or characters or just the general area that you're in, because they have like kind of an explanation of each of the levels. And so going to Heaven, like I'm really looking forward to the audio files and the archive stuff. Like what the hell are they going to write about Heaven? Because they did such a good job with Hell.
Just crazy like audio files from like random angels that are just like, I was eating my dinner one day and these hell demons started invading. It's stuff like that. It's going to be awesome.
Right. They did that with the demons talking about the Doom guy.
Right.
About he came to Hell and like fucked everything up.
Right.
And
it's
so
great.
They could tackle that from lots of angles, and I'm really interested to see how they do that.
Yeah, the best thing about Doom 2016 is just how self-aware it was. It's completely ridiculous. Like the story, like none of it should be taken seriously, like to an extent, but it's so self-aware in that respect where it knows what kind of story it wants to tell. And I'm really excited, mostly for the gameplay, but I'll be interested to read them audio logs listen to the audio logs and read all the little what do they call them? Like the little tablets or whatever the black book.
I was trying to find the name. It escapes me, but I think everyone knows what we're talking about.
It should be cool. But let's move on.
Okay, I will. Okay, one game that doesn't overlap.
Yeah.
Lunk's Awakening. What kind of bootleg fucking game is that? That is a typo.
Right.
Lunk.
Yeah. See, Link's older brother, who isn't often talked about, is Mr. Lunk, and he goes through and he helps. He picks up all the corpses which Link leaves behind. No, sorry.
Yeah, they got the name right the second time. They fucked up with the first son, and they're like, wait, that's a terrible name. We're gonna name you Link. You're like, he hates his brother.
Right.
Anyways, I like top-down Zelda games a lot, Vin. Link to the Past is still one of my favorite games.
It's my favorite Zelda. It still will be forever, I think.
Yeah, that is definitely my favorite Zelda. I've heard a lot of people kind of on Twitter talk about how they like Link's Awakening on the DS is one of their favorite games,
Mm-hmm.
which is a bit surprising to me. I don't agree, but it's good. Like, you know, the Oracle games are good as
Mm-hmm.
well. Same assets and all that, and I'm just excited to play another top-down Zelda game in 2019. The only issue is I've heard a lot of people come away from the show saying that in the overworld the game chugs.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
like
surprising, actually. Is it made by Nintendo, do we know? Like, is it a first-party title, or has it been handed off to another studio?
I don't know if it's in-house or not.
Right.
But I'm talking about like people that are like massive Zelda fans,
Right.
and walking away. And I listened to the Giant Bomb, kind of, they do their like at night show where they're sitting on the couch talking about the games they played, and Dan Reichert was like, he's like super Zelda fan. He's like, that game chugs. And then the other guy, Brad Shoemaker, had said like, yeah, at first I was just wondering, because he's more of like an FPS like frame rate guy.
Right.
He was wondering like, is this just me? But then Dan Reichert came back. He's like, that game kind of chugs. He's like, okay, it's not just me. And I've heard several other people say that, and that kind of worries me. I do not want to play a game that's like a flip book.
Right. When is it? When's the actual game out? Do we know?
Shit, like November this year.
Oh, I've just looked up. September 20th it's out. So
even earlier then. Damn.
Yeah. To be fair, like in terms of games development, like the last sort of 6 months of working on a game, you're basically just trying to fix frame rate issues. So hopefully they'll line that stuff out by then. I would hope.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just like, okay, we need to get this E3 ready, and then we'll fix this stuff up before it comes out. Nintendo pretty good about that. I know Breath of the Wild had some sections of that game that were a bit choppy, but that's probably a little bit to do with that it was a Wii U and a Switch game.
Right, it was cross-platform.
Maybe
They're always going to have problems with that. But why are you sort of excited about this one in particular? I know it's like a remake and stuff and all that sort of kind of stuff. So like, what's the thing that's pulling you over?
Just I want to play a top-down Zelda game. Like, I love the sense of adventure in those games. There's a bit of nostalgia talking when like you exit the screen and the screen kind of moves up to the next area.
Right.
Dungeons, back with Zelda dungeons. It's been so long since I've played Link's Awakening on the DS that, the
3DS?
Game Boy Color.
Okay, yeah, it is. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. That I don't remember any of those dungeons, so I get to go in and play some awesome Zelda dungeons. I remember them being good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, going back to a top-down Zelda game is for me, it's like that type of thing will always be a highlight for me.
Yeah, I mean, I am interested in this one. I mean, same with Link to the Past being my favorite one. I'm probably more interested in this than actually Breath of the Wild 2, which, people are probably going to shoot me for that, but it's true. But the art style like sort of throws me off a little bit, but it's probably something I could get over pretty quickly, I guess. It looks really chibi,
I agree. It's a bit like, I wish they would have done something different with the art style. I know there's people like it, people hate it. I'm somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Link with his like little beady eyes is it's like a direct translation of the Game Boy graphics in a weird way. But
we'll see. I hope it's good. I really do.
Everything's got like a kind of a plastic toy sheen to it.
Yeah, there is that. I mean, I do like the idea of like the tilt shift blur effect that they've got, where it's like everything looks like it's a miniature because I like blur the edges, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like that aesthetic, but it's just like the actual characters themselves. They kind of look. It's like you said, everything looks like it's made out of plastic. It looks like a toy world. It doesn't feel like this adventure that you're going on anymore. It just feels like, oh, I'm playing with toys. Like I don't know if that's a bit weird, but that's nitpicking, obviously. I think gameplay comes first for them games. So.
Yeah, I wish they would have chosen a bit more of a unique design to it, but like you said, I think I'll probably get over it as well. But definitely a highlight. I mean, it's not this amazing game. It's a remake of a Game Boy Color game or a Game Boy game, but that's fine.
Oh, it's cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you brought it up. And it's something to play on Switch, for Christ's sake, because my Switch is like gathering dust right now. Like I downloaded Hollow Knight the other night and I'm looking forward to playing that, but other than that I haven't really played it in a while, so that will be a reason for me to sort of wipe off the dust and play some games again.
There is actual dust on my Switch.
Right. Exactly. Yeah
Okay, so how about you? What's another one of your highlights?
Yeah, my next one that I want to bring up was the what do I want to bring up? I want to bring up Dying Light 2. That's what I want to talk about because I loved the first game and I thought it was amazing. And there's a lot of people out there that have sort of they have problems with it, which I totally respect and I get that. But what I loved about the first game was that they never stopped working on it ever, like throughout the whole production. Like even to this day, they're still releasing DLC for that thing for free. Like they're just like giving people stuff. Like
I didn't know that.
Yeah, people keep buying this, so we're going to keep making stuff for it. And like at the same time, they were making Dying Light 2 or whatever. But so I really respect that they did that, and I'm sure they're going to carry it on through this gen and probably next gen as well with Dying Light 2. So yeah, I mean it's got a better aesthetic, I think. Like I just like grass, and trees and stuff. And the first one
it's a bit easier on the eyes than the first game, I would say.
Yeah, I like the European sort of setting to it. They're doubling the move set, so like the way you traverse around, so they're doubling the amount of ways that you can get around. Just the overall global sort of choices that you make in the game like impact a lot more in this one. So in the first game, like you could make sort of small, like dialogue tree sort of choices, but in this one, like if you make a certain choice, like it will change a whole sort of borough of like the city that you're in.
I'm really interested to see how this works because it seems like, with this game in particular, especially like there's the system, there's like a choice system that the game's been designed around where,
right,
like your choices could radically shift what's happening in the towns and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, the way that they're talking about it is like they're saying when these choices come about, like they're presented to you in a way that where you know which way it's going to go, sort of thing. So it's not like you just do something and like the whole borough changes or like the whole city changes. You're like, oh crap, like I didn't mean that to happen. But it's it's an interesting mechanic which they've been talking about since day one of announcing this, and I think they announced it last year at E3. And they were talking about it then, so this isn't just like a tacked on sort of feature. Like they've been talking about this from day one, so it must be pretty flushed out, like if it's worth talking about for that long. So hopefully it sort of squares out. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to like playing sort of Mirror's Edge with zombies is like the greatest thing in the world. Like I love doing that shit.
You love your first person parkouring.
I really do. Like I thought like a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there that find it really jarring and stuff, but like I love like just running around the city and stuff. It's the same reason why I like Spider-Man. Like the game that came out last year, just swinging through the streets. It's just relaxing to do, and when you're running away from zombies, like it just adds a bit to it, I guess.
I have one wish for this game.
I already know what it is.
That they fucking tone down the virals, the runners.
Yeah, the nighttime those
people. Yeah, no, actually, the nighttime guys, I'm fine. I never went out at night in that game.
Okay. Right. I see.
Scared the shit out of me. Yeah. Just the fast zombies. I think they're called virals or runners or something.
I know what you mean. Yeah, the runners.
And they're just randomly generated, and every now and then they'll pop up and just chase you to no end. And they're really fast, and they'll most likely catch up to you, so you have to deal with them. Especially in the DLC The Following, there were way too many of them, and they just all I want to do is get in my buggy and drive around this beautiful farmland, and all the time was like someone flicking the back of my ear. It's like, hey, no, there's zombies.
Right.
Yeah, I hope they tone those down. Like I don't care if they're there, but they got to tweak some RNG stuff there where they only pop up every now and then or a bit less than the first game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that stuff annoyed me in the first one as well. But I remember like the only tactic I really got used to doing was just like, all right, I've got like a couple of runners on me, like climb to the top of a building, wait for them to climb up after me and like kick them off. Like that's the only thing you could do. And they were annoying as hell. And I do agree. Like I hope they do tone down that stuff. But I think
they're just annoying. Like it's one of those enemies I just look at them like, what's the point of this enemy?
Right.
Like just take it out of the game. I don't think it would lose anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think the reason why they never changed that, even though they carried on working on it, is just because of like how much of a core mechanic it was, I guess. But I think with the new game, with Dying Light 2, they've got the opportunity to sort of like tweak that, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have new enemies and stuff like that. But hopefully you're right. I hope they tone that down. So yeah, should be good. But how about you, man? What's your next one? What's your next highlight?
Let's see. Okay, do you want to tackle this one together?
Let's do it.
Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of became a running joke because they announced it way too early, and then it was not at E3, and everyone's like, well, what's going on? It's episodic. What does that mean? All of these questions swirling around this. First episode is in Midgar. Like, okay. But from from what I've heard of people who played it, like, well, for one, it looks good. That game looks good.
It looks beautiful. I've got multiple things to say about this. Just like how the thing that annoys me is how good it looks.
Let me give you the floor, Vin, because this is a Final Fantasy fan, or relapsed Final Fantasy fan number one.
Right. Okay.
Mr. Vin Hill.
Yep.
Yeah, Mr. I have like multiple copies of like every single Final Fantasy game ever made.
Yep.
With booklets and all that stuff. So yeah, Final Fantasy fan number one, Mr. Vin Hill. What's your take on this?
The game looks amazing, right? And I'm not going to dog on how good the game looks. Like the idea of the ATB mechanic with mixed in with the action sort of RPG aspect of it, like how they're mixing that up, it's genius. Like, yeah, they've taken the idea from Fallout, from the whole VAT system where you can pause time halfway through like a sword swing and you can switch to another character and carry on playing sort of thing. That looks awesome. Like the game looks beautiful. It looks like it's voiced pretty well. It looks really good. But my big caveat to this is just how they're sort of handling the episodic thing and how sort of shady they're being with all that, especially like in the conferences and stuff. And I've had, like, today I had a conversation with my cousin who he messaged me on Twitter and he said, I've just pre-ordered the deluxe edition of Final Fantasy 7. I can't wait to play it next year. I said, it's only episode 1 of like at least 5, right? And he was like, what? And he called me and we had like an hour conversation about it and he was pissed. Wow. And he didn't know, like he had no idea because he doesn't watch E3 or anything like that. He saw the pre-order on his PS4 and he went to go and get it and he was just
okay, right. He's like the, every now and then I have that one friend who will like message me and like, hey, have you ever heard of this game? Like they don't look at video game news all the time. They don't know exactly what's going on with this stuff.
Yeah.
Man, that sucks.
And it really sucks because like his favorite game is Final Fantasy 7. Like, can you imagine if the Shadow of Colossus was coming out for you and it was just like, oh, by the way, this is on like the first 2 Colossi are in this game,
and then you have to wait another year and buy another game.
And I sort of give it to him straight. I said, you're probably not going to get the whole of Final Fantasy 7 until like 2025, and you'll probably have to pay full price for each of those. So you're looking at like the price of a console for this one game, like when it's all said and done. And he was just like, this is disgusting. Like, how the hell can they do this? And I sort of agree with him. Like, it is really gross, like the way they're sort of handling this. And I hope they sort of change it. And I hope that they, pull back on this and say, okay, the package that you're getting with Final Fantasy 7, that is like all the games. It's like a season pass sort of thing. I hope that's what it is. Or on the flip side, like if the game, like when the game comes out, I know it sounds like I'm bitching, but I am really excited about it and I hope that it's great. But if they get if the Midgard chapter is like a full length game, then more power to them. I hope that it is that. But if it's like a 10-hour game or something, and it's like it plays more like a movie, I'm going to be really annoyed. And I'm going to wait for a review to see if that comes about. But hopefully not, because the game looks phenomenal, and that's what annoys me more than anything. Because if it looked garbage, like I wouldn't be that annoyed about it. But the fact that it looks so good, like I'm sort of I'm worried. And I'm worried that they're going to get some backlash. But how do you feel about it?
So I like Final Fantasy 7. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy game.
Yeah, same.
That'd be Final Fantasy 6 and 9, I suppose.
Yeah, 9's my favorite.
Maybe 4. I think, it looks great. And it's funny that you say that, like, it looks too good, because you're thinking, like, they're spending too much time making this game because they're making it look too good, which is funny, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, just the messaging around this is very unclear, which leads me to believe that they don't even know exactly what they're going to be doing. It almost seems it's like, all right, let's do this Midgard chapter and see what happens type of thing, which is not good. But I like the mix up between the active time battle and more of like Final Fantasy 15. From what I've heard from 15, I'm glad that they didn't just copy and paste that battle system.
Hey man,
I'm sure you're really happy about that.
Yeah. I mean, I think 15 was the only Final Fantasy I've never finished. Like, to this day, I still haven't finished it. So
that's telling.
Yeah, it was that bad.
Yeah, I'm super excited for it. I didn't know exactly how I was going to feel because we hadn't heard anything about it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And then we saw the trailers, just quick cuts of gameplay. And then finally, in the press conference, which I actually liked, they're like, kind of went through how Cloud plays. Like, they're very specific about the battle system and then how it works. Like that messaging was good.
No, they needed to do that though, because I think that was
Totally.
everyone's biggest sort of worry about it. Like their main concern was like, how does the hell does this thing play? Like, how are you going from an ATB system to like active sort of battle, like the like action adventure style battle? Like, how the hell are you gonna? And that mix that they found is perfect. Like that's like, all right, like if you want to play like the old style game, then you can kind of still do that. So that's I think it works best of both worlds, and I think it brings it into the sort of modern age. But yeah, I mean, it's just their marketing behind it and how they're sort of messaging in the episodic stuff. Because like I looked on the page today, like after I had the conversation with my cousin about it, I went onto the PlayStation store and just looked at the page, and he's right. Like you would not know like at all. It says Final Fantasy 7 remake. It doesn't say Final Fantasy 7 remake episode 1. It doesn't do anything. Like the only thing that you would actually get a hint from is if you read in the description, it says the first part in the Final Fantasy 7 saga. Like that's all it says, and it's really weird. And I think there's going to be a big pushback on it, like when it actually does eventually come out, because there's going to be a lot of people that don't realize that this isn't the full game. So it's something that they sort of need to tackle, and I hope that they do, because it deserves it. Like it deserves a decent run.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll see, though. We shall see.
All right, so that's on both our lists, right?
Yep.
So you got Doom Eternal, Dying Light 2, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. What's your fourth one?
My fourth one is a bit of a cheat, I guess, because I'm actually going to talk about Xbox Game Pass. It was one of the best things which they did do in that conference. They're basically bringing Game Pass over to the PC, and it's got like 100 games on it, and it's sort of a subscription service, but it's not a streaming service. It's all based on you pay into a subscription, you can download any of these games. But unlike PlayStation Now and all the other companies, like they've got a solid list of games, and just they're continually to add to them. So the fact that like they're adding Halo Master Chief to the PC and stuff like this, it was just a really good moment for PC gamers, I guess, because they sort of needed that, because they only really get like third party stuff, and just getting games like Halo Master Chief Collection is really important to sort of spread the love of Xbox, I guess, because that's going to be like their main market until the next Xbox probably comes out. So it's I'm really excited about it. Like I've got a PC, I don't own an Xbox, so I'm really happy that the Halo Master Chief mainly is coming to the PC as well. But yeah, a good thing as well that they did, they made Game Pass like $1 or something for E3, and it's like 100 games there for $1. I mean, it's nuts, and I think it was one of the best things that they did at the conference, and it was underplayed by all the other stuff like the Scarlet and the Halo sort of releases, the announcement, sorry. But yeah, I thought it was a really, really important message for PC gamers.
Yeah, that did get kind of lost in the shuffle for me. I don't have an Xbox, or I don't even have a PC anymore. So I guess boo-hoo for me. But no, that's good. I did see a lot of people on Twitter talking about it, and like there was something where you could like re-up your subscription, so you just got like this massive deal that was like added to however many months left you had on your Game Pass or something like that. So it was just, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they're doing
like everyone was really happy.
Yeah, they're doing some really good things with the sort of Game Pass subscription. I think you can get like a premium version of it, so it's like $15 or something a month. But with that $15, you get Game Pass and an Xbox Live account as well, and there's other stuff that you get with it. I mean, they sort of spearheaded this whole idea of the sort of subscriptions and Game Passes and stuff, and then Sony sort of jumped on later. So I think with the direction that it's going, and now that PlayStation Now has started to switch over to downloads as well, I think it's going to get really interesting, like in the run up to the next generation of consoles, and how they sort of tackle that, because subscriptions are unfortunately going to be the future, like if we like it or not, with streaming and xCloud and PlayStation Now and Stadia and all this crazy stuff is happening. What it all boils down to is the subscription services that come with it, and it's cool to see Xbox sort of dive into that head first with Game Pass and really give it some love, because like some of the games on here, man, they are no joke. Like there's so many good games. Like Fallout 4 is on there. Christ, I'm just looking at the list now. It's so long. Like all of the Halo Master Chief Collection's on there. Hitman Season 1 is on there. It's just a massive list of games. So if you're like a PC gamer, go and check it out because there's a decent amount of stuff on there.
Give me my physical copy, God damn it!
You're one of those guys, are you?
Yeah.
Well.
Yep. Good for them.
I thought I'd
they start making moves. Sony's going to have to try to meet them
right
halfway or kind of rethink what they're doing with all their stuff. So that's always good.
Yeah, competition is always good. So yeah.
Yes.
All right, sweet. What about you, man? What's your next one?
Next game. So I had Link's Awakening, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Doom Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
The last game on my list is Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Sweet. Because you've only just recently got into this series, right?
Yeah, I weirdly enough I played Old Blood. So this Youngblood is a take on Old Blood, which is also a side story.
Mm-hmm.
So I played Old Blood first, which is more kind of like weird. It's got like zombies and the occult going on.
Yeah, I didn't play this.
It's like a 5-6 hour game, I think.
Yeah, I never played it. I played the first two Wolfenstein games, but I never played the Old Blood DLC.
The New Order and the New Colossus, right?
Right, that's it.
So yeah, I played the Old Blood first, and then I was like, oh wow, I didn't know I liked Wolfenstein games. It was almost the same thing with like, what else is there? Like the Yakuza series, of course. I have to mention that in at least every podcast.
Right, of course.
It's just one of those things where like I played the games late, like way late, and I just didn't know. I'm like, wow, I like this. I like everything about this. So I went back and I bought the New Order. Luckily, it's same thing with Doom 2016. I played it the year that Wolfenstein 2 came out, so I didn't have to wait long. Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, is a great game. It is so good. People have issues with the combat. I've talked about this before, or the difficulty. I don't know. I'll say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I beat that game on hard, and I do not think it's as hard as everyone says it is. I don't know. I don't know what to say. But that's a great game, and it sets up a very, very interesting story to probably be wrapped up in Wolfenstein 3. But for the time being, we get another side story in Youngblood where BJ Blazkowicz's twin daughters are trying to find him in Paris, and it looks awesome. I mean, it's like co-op, and one thing that I think might help with the whole difficulty thing is you can revive each other.
Yeah,
if you're playing in co-op, so it kind of gives you that extra life. Is that the new thing this year?
I guess so.
It was like bow and arrows, grappling hooks. Now it's like extra lives in single player games.
I think people have sort of realized that if you give people an extra life, you can make the game more difficult, and just have that extra level of sort of challenge without really, changing the mechanics too much, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think it's an interesting sort of choice. But I love the look of this game, man. Like just stylistically, looking at the like the sort of synth and 80s sort of vibe that it's got to it, even though it's set in like an alternative history and stuff like that. It looks great.
Yeah. Anyway, I heard a lot of people talk about they like the song that played. The name of the band is Carpenter Brute.
Okay.
Carpenter Brute. So if you like that synth song, they are an awesome kind of like 80s inspired synth band. So yeah, check them out. Great. I think the best thing I saw from that trailer, I started watching it at work for some reason. And then like someone walked by and it's just like, it's like this girl stabbing this SS officer in the chest repeatedly while like holding his head back. I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't be watching this at work. Yeah. But Jesus, that foreigner is fucking weird. I guess that's what they do. Like I probably had like a smile on my face because I was so excited for the game.
Yeah,
so just like in that brief second where they saw me, I was watching like someone get stabbed to death, and I was smiling. So yeah, apologies to them.
I think that comes with the territory of those type of games. Like Doom has the same thing where it's just like this crazy amount of violence, but it's so ridiculous that you just can't help but smile and laugh at it.
Yeah. I mean, you're taking off Nazi's legs with one swipe from a machete. It's like it's fucking ridiculous, but it's great.
But like from an outsider looking in, I can imagine like that person walking by you and just looking like, what the fuck is he watching? Sort of thing. But like if you're into it, like you get the sort of humor, and it's so ridiculous that you can get away with a lot of stuff with that, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe by the water cooler. It's like, oh, it's not what it looks like, and I'll just sit down and like very slowly explain the history of Wolfenstein and the cartoony nature of it. I'm sure they'll lend me their ear. They'll appreciate it.
I'm sure.
For some reason the scene that specifically sticks out in my mind in this game is there's a part where one of the characters is dual wielding like semi-automatic pistols, and they're jumping through a window while shooting.
Mm-hmm.
It just looked cool, and it seems like, I'm not sure, the other games were more about go into an area, kill the SS officers before they call for backup, and then clean up.
Yeah.
This is a trailer, so we don't know. This looks more run and gun than maybe Wolfenstein games are, because they're not really run and gun. Well, on hard they aren't, because you die so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So this, I don't know. It looks. I love the I love the look of it. I love the idea of the co-op and the revival.
There might be some truth in that. Maybe like because they're like younger characters, I guess. I mean, maybe they might be a bit more agile and they can jump and do all this crazy stuff. Like I hope I hope that's true. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they have those super suits on as well. So
right, there is that. That's true. Yeah. We won't go into that because it'll spoil some lore, I guess. But go play Wolfenstein. It's fucking awesome. Like it's gonna be so good.
It's great. Yep. So that is my final game.
Sweet.
And what's your last highlight?
Yep. Again, I have no more games. I am very gameless. And I'm going to go with the Genesis Mini. It was finally shown off. Or the Mega Drive Mini if you're from Europe. I know, like, I've got like a load of people in England that are just going, what did you just call it? The Mega, right, the
How
Mega
dare
Drive.
you?
Right now. You're sacrilege.
Yeah, you start saying potato chips instead of crisps. They'll never let you back in this country.
Right, that's it. I'm exiled forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mega Drive Mini or the Genesis Mini was finally shown off. It was sort of announced at the like Sega have their own thing, like at the start of the year or whatever, where it's just like Sonic fans go to and stuff. Like to each their own, I guess.
The fuck is that?
Right, tell me about it. Like Sonic Fest. Whatever, that's cool.
Just sounds like a furry convention.
Wouldn't it surprise me? Like, I'm sure there's a few of them walking around. More power to them, I guess. But this thing was finally shown off. Last year, I really got into the sort of micro console, like the mini consoles sort of scene.
Yeah, you got the mini console bug.
Yeah, I did. It was ridiculous. Like, I bought the SNES, and I was like, I've seen the light, and that was it. I got the NES mini after that, and I got the PlayStation Classic, and oh god, I love them, man. They're awesome. And just from the lineup of the Mega Drive Mini, just looking at the games,
they finally did it right. Remember those like half-assed attempts they've done in the last couple of years? It was like really, really half-assed attempt of trying to jump on the mini console bandwagon. They finally did it right.
Yeah,
they finally did it right.
To their credit, I think Nintendo probably got the idea of their micro consoles from Sega, because they've sort of been like, everyone's been inching towards this, this idea of like being able to just have like all the best games sort of thing on this micro console, and just the lineup that's on the Genesis Mini, and just the way people have been talking about it and say, it feels the exact same way as what a Genesis does. And there was someone on, I think it was IGN or GameSpot or someone, I was watching an interview, like they were trying it out, and the guy that was trying it out he's got a Genesis at home and he still plays it on a weekly basis. He was saying, he's like, it feels the exact same. And it's like, all right, dope. I'm in. That's
well, perfect. If anyone knows, it's a weirdo who still plays the Genesis
right, exactly.
a weekly basis. So
like normally I'd make fun of that guy. Normally I'd make fun of that guy. I'm like, you're a super nerd, like get with the time sort of thing. But he actually helped me out that day. So it's like, all right, fine. I'll take word for it. Like that's a good review.
You know what's weird, Vin, though? I don't know about the European version.
Mm-hmm.
The Japanese version comes with the 6-button controller, but the US version comes with the 3.
Interesting.
I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, I mean, we had 2 versions of the Mega Drive in England. I'm sure it's probably the same in America as well. But Like the original, I think
yeah.
only had 3, and then we upped it to 6 with the Mega Drive 2 or whatever it was, or the Genesis 2, with the 2 red buttons on. I don't know if you had the same ones.
For an extra 4,000 yen, you can get a add-on
I love
to
this.
the Mega Drive. Which
I love this.
It's just a plastic Sega CD and a 32X with Sonic in the top.
So good.
You just set it up, yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. When I saw that, I was like, that's got to be a joke. And then I looked it up and I was like, that is hilarious. Like, I would totally get that, but yeah, that's too far, I guess.
But I would say that, but I have the Famicom Mini, and I bought a fake Famicom, what is it called? The CD drive?
Not I know what you mean.
Drive. Yeah, it's just a box that I put my Famicom on.
That's great.
It doesn't do anything.
That's awesome.
So I can't. I'd be a hypocrite to say that that's stupid because I fucking bought that.
Yeah, there's 40 games on this thing,
but I'd probably buy it.
Yeah, there's 40 games on this thing. Awesome games as well. Like, it's not like none of them are hit or miss. Like, pretty much every single game on this thing is going to be awesome. I think it's probably going to do better than any of the other mini consoles, just purely because of the sheer amount of games it's got. So,
I think Sega's smart because maybe the Mega Drive or the Genesis name doesn't have as much clout as, say, an NES or a Super NES. So they're like, you know what we'll do? Let's just put in more games.
Right.
And I think that was a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to help them as well, because there's some awesome games on this. And I mean, they even included like Tetris, which only sold they only had like 3 copies. It's like one of the rarest games ever made, and they put like the ROM on it for that. And it's like, that's crazy. But okay, let's go, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm hyped. But saying that, me being super excited about the Genesis Mini is probably shadowed by your excitement for another thing, I would assume.
Mr. Vin Hill.
Yes.
If you would have told me in 2019 that they're going to release a mini console of one of the greatest consoles of all time, aka the TurboGrafx 16,
yep,
I wouldn't believe you.
I don't believe you. I think it's all fake.
I will jump out a window if they fucking troll me on this one. This is probably like the craziest thing that I've seen in quite a while. Like, completely shocking. I did not expect talking about systems with zero clout.
Right.
Like, of course you make an NES Mini. Of course you make a PlayStation Mini. And so on and so forth. A fucking TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
This was hilarious. Like, as soon as I saw this thing, I was like, I bet Evan doesn't know, because he hasn't tweeted about this, and it's like one of his favorite consoles, if not his favorite console. And just, it's kind of like, it's like you're saying, it's sort of like the equivalent of Sega coming out and saying, hey, we're going to make a Sega Saturn Mini. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, but like, even more obscure.
Right. Yeah, it's just weird. But yeah, totally.
You don't, I was fucking blown away. I can't believe, I seriously can't believe it. They're making a TurboGrafx 16 mini console. The games that
Bonk will have his day.
Oh,
Bonk's Revenge will have his day.
Bonk all day, bonk all night, baby. Bonk for life. Speaking of, you have to get this, man, and we have to talk about this on the
I've been
podcast.
saying,
we have to dedicate an entire episode to talking about the TurboGrafx 16 Mini. We have to.
Yeah, I mean, this is the funny thing. Like, you've been mentioning this console like over the last sort of 3 years to me, and I've just been like, yeah, all right, I'll try it one day. Just like,
but it's like you're not going to, because how the hell are you going to find one?
Right. Other than like emulation, I guess.
Right. But now, here's with an actual TurboGrafx 16 controller, right? You're going to have a legitimate TurboGrafx 16 controller, which is the only way to play. Dude, I am. And so far for the TurboGrafx 16, it's R-Type, which the TurboGrafx 16 was known as like a shmup system. Like, some of the best shmups came out for this system. It was pretty much one of the reasons that people ended up buying it, if they were into shmups. So got to have that in their R-Type. New Adventure Island, that game's give or take. Then you have Ys Book 1 and 2, which I never played. Dungeon Explorer, which I never played. But the 2 games that they've released so far, Alien Crush, which I think is one of the best pinball games of the 16-bit era ever.
This is my favorite conversation ever, by the way. But carry on, please. I love how excited you are about this ridiculous
Alien Crush
console.
is a fucking awesome pinball game. And I don't even like pinball games, but it's like H.R. Giger style. Like, it's,
you know what?
Totally
I think I've played this game
of like alien-esque artwork.
I think I've played that game in another capacity, but it wasn't on the TurboGrafx 16. It must have been like on a pinball machine or something, like in an arcade maybe somewhere, like really
I don't know.
Because this rings so many bells.
It's awesome. And the next game, Vin, Ninja Spirit, is one of my favorite games of. It's one of the best games on the TurboGrafx. It's so good.
You know, every single listener is just come like he's making these games up.
Alien Crush,
like none of these are real.
Ninja Spirit, Dungeon Explorer. This is fucking bootleg ass names. Ninja Spirit is great. It is such a good game. I'm super excited for it. They've already released. They've already announced that Bonk's Adventure will be on the PC Engine, which is the name of the system in Japan. They haven't actually announced it for the TurboGrafx 16, but of course, so
it's got to be.
It says
right?
we'll steadily be adding more titles. Let's see how many titles are on there. I'll say it right now. They have to have Legendary Axe 1 and 2, Bonk's Adventure, Bonk's Revenge, Air Zonk, which is a shmup. You're Bonk, but you're like future Bonk, and you're it's a shmup. So you're like, you have sunglasses and a thunderbolt on your head, and you're just flying around a city, and it's an awesome shmup. And like, you can get you get power-ups that will bring like friends on. Like there's a baseball with sunglasses, and he'll help you out and stuff. And then Bloody Wolf. It's
right. I thought you were going to say Bloody Roar. I was like, oh, this is one I know.
It was like actually one of the only fighting games I was legitimately good at. Bloody Wolf? No, Bloody Roar. Yeah, Bloody Roar, where you turn into animals.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's good. Jesus Christ, I thought you were making up another one.
No, Bloody Wolf. It's basically like Commando, the video game, and you totally look like Arnold Schwarzenegger from Commando, and you just go around and you shoot people. It's fucking great. But yes, I've gone on too long, but yet not long enough.
I love this. Like it's hilarious that you're so passionate about this thing, which no one even knows about.
And go to konami.com's /games/PCE mini. The fucking website is awesome too. Like they're killing it, man. Like this scrolling page is super cool.
Have we got any like release dates or any prices on this thing yet?
Nope. Fuck, man. I don't care if it costs $300. I'll buy it. Who cares?
Right? Yeah, I don't care about the price. It's more about like the release date. But
I don't know. Yeah,
I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna pick it up just for you, I guess. Like I'll give it a good shot, and I'll play all the games, and I'll give you my review.
Come on, man. There's little switches on the controller that you can turn on turbo. Yeah,
of course. Like, why else would they call it the TurboGrafx?
But it's awesome. So let's just say there's a game where you have to constantly tap, and they don't have an A and B button. They have a button 2 and a button 1. Button 2 becomes before button 1 for some reason, and it's the select and run buttons, not start. It's got to be different. So let's just say you're tapping the button to shoot, and you're like, oh, this sucks. If you turn the turbo switch up, you can just hold the button down, and then you'll actually. It's like an emulator,
like an 80s gimmick.
Yeah.
You know, like they'd never be able to sell that stuff. Like, and if the game's too slow, then you can put it on turbo, and then all like the lines like come out and stuff, and the kid's got sunglasses on, and like the explosions through the screen after he presses the button. I can just see it. I can see the whole thing.
Just search for like old TurboGrafx 16 like commercials on YouTube. I'm sure there's some really good stuff out there.
Oh man, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I'm writing that down. I'm doing it.
We've kind of gone on long enough. One small tidbit: the reason that the TurboGrafx 16 is much bigger than the PC Engine is because when they were trying to market the system in the States, it was too small. And the PC Engine, if you've ever seen it, is already small. So I'm wondering, how are they going to make this smaller? Like it's already like fits in the palm of your hand. The TurboGrafx 16 is much bigger, and all it is just a big piece of plastic. They just added more plastic to it because they thought this was back in the day when smaller stuff.
Right. So bigger equals more power.
Bigger equals more power equals more money. In Japan, that didn't. Right. That didn't. Now, of course, like phones, the smaller it is, the more expensive it can be. But back then, they're like, we need to sell this for X amount of money. We have to make it this big, or else no one's gonna think that the price is worth it. But anyways, TurboGrafx 16 Mini coming to a store.
It's the way forward to the future.
All right.
My last mention is a bit of a personal pick, I guess, for reasons I can go into, but it's I'm gonna talk about Watch Dogs Legion.
Mm.
And the reason why this is sort of a personal pick, because I actually worked on the game. I've worked on it for the past year as a concept artist. So it's always cool to see like a game that you've worked on get announced. And it's probably going to be like a fucking horrible challenge that we're going to have to deal with, like being on this podcast. Like I'm not allowed to talk about the games that much,
right?
So I'm not allowed to talk about Legion really outside of what they've shown. I'm just excited that we've actually been able to show it, and I was really excited to see how people sort of reacted to it. Like my wife will tell you, like I'm driving her insane, like watching all the reaction videos of like all the people watching Grandma Helen like shoot people in the face. Like it's been great, just seeing that sort of come together, and it's really cool to see the reveal and how people are actually getting to see the whole play as anyone sort of aspect actually work and see it in motion. So yeah, it's always exciting, like being a developer and seeing a game get announced. Like people don't understand how important that is for developers. Like like when leaks happen and stuff, like it's devastating to us because we live for that moment, to see how people are going to react. And if you watch like the reaction videos of people like just cracking up laughing at like Grandma Helen like tasering people, it's just that's what it's all about. And if that got out beforehand, I mean the game did leak before, but thankfully nothing visual leaked for us, so we were able to sort of hold on to that sort of surprise still. But it's sort of like I want to hit home about like how important that moment is to developers. So if you do get some information, don't fucking leak it, you horrible people. No, I'm only kidding. But I mean, they've got it. They're journalists, right? But,
right. Yeah, it's There's an ongoing conversation on Twitter. Jason Schreier.
Jason Schreier.
And Cory Balrog.
Yeah, Balrog.
Yeah,
the God of War director, right?
Fucking J.R.R. Tolkien. They kind of went back and forth about this. I see both sides, but I'm not a developer and I'm not a journalist.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get it. Like, I'm not completely naive about it. Like, I understand, like, if something... Like, Jason Schreier probably knew about Legion, like, a year ago, but he didn't leak anything because he sort of knows that the surprise is important as well. But when it gets to the point where it's leaking other places, then he's got to talk about it as a journalist. Like, I respect that and I get that. Like, the fact that he held back that long is decent. But it's just about like we've got to try and get away from this whole leaking culture, and like I really hope one day we can sort of start to treat leaks like the spoilers to a movie or a series, like having that sort of mentality behind it. And I hope we do get there one day. We probably won't, because YouTube's a clickbait culture and people have got to make money, and that's how they make money, by talking about these things. So it's a weird thing. But I just wanted to say like how like important it was, like, and how excited I was to see Watch Dogs Legion finally revealed after a year of working on it. It's been super cool, and I hope like people go and check out the trailer at least. I'm not going to shill it out or anything. Like, you can form your own opinion. You're not a child,
right?
But yeah, I just want to say like how exciting that was for me on a personal. It was one of my highlights, just purely on a personal level as a developer.
Sure, and of course I know you, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But I'm interested to see more of this game. I bounced off of the first two, but I could totally see, especially probably more 2 than 1, where like if I gave it a good 5 or 6 hours, I'm sure I would get into that gameplay loop, because it's it's a open world game where you're kind of running around and doing silly things with tech. Like that's
I mean, it's like GTA or anything like that. I mean,
I like those games. I've played tons.
Yeah,
of them.
I wasn't a massive fan of the first 2 games. I'll be honest. Like, I'm not gonna like pretend that I wasn't. That I was. I finished Watch Dogs 1. I never finished Watch Dogs 2. The first one sort of bored me. It was a very like typical sort of action adventure game. The second one was a bit too in the other direction of like everyone's cool and hipster and sort of thing. The characters didn't really gel with me, like on a personal level, but this one is sort of like a mix between the two. So I think it's like it's got that sort of special like in between, which I sort of like, and I've been playing it at work, and I enjoy it,
right.
Like so.
And I'm actually
take from that what you will though.
Next month for summer vacation, I'm going to visit London for the first time.
Oh, nice!
Yeah,
sweet.
I'll be gone for I'll be there for 2 weeks. Might hit up Italy or France or Germany along the way, but yeah, I get to go to London and then.
Sweet. Yeah, get some reference.
Yeah, get some reference. Take some pictures.
Sweet.
I'm interested to see more about this. I like where they're going. A lot of people are like, well, if you don't have a main character, then you kind of lose. I'm like, but like, did you like the protagonist of Watch Dogs 1? Did you care for the
exactly
like anonymous? anonymous or
exactly. And I mean, to their credit, and like they've said in the interviews and stuff, they are like fully voicing every single character. So every single cutscene is being voiced like 20 times over from all the different personalities.
Yeah,
and
so
they're not like
you could learn to love.
It's not
your
like one
group
word
of
answers
people.
sort of thing. Yeah, and they're all different. They're all written different. They're not just like different voice actors. Like this, like the old lady will have different sort of actions and like reactions to stuff to what like the young sort of chav in the street will like talk about. Like so it's completely different, and you will make your own main character. So I don't know. I mean, I think we'll have to wait for reviews before like people sort of get a good gauge on that either way, because I think a lot of people are looking at it and like, yeah, I don't really believe it because it's Ubisoft and they've sort of misled people in the past about this sort of stuff. So I respect that and I get that. So
when's the last time a game has been set in modern London?
The Getaway on the PlayStation 2, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. Like finally,
that's what I know.
It's
been a while, man.
Get out of the United States.
Right. And it's interesting because like sort of final note on this, like the really funny thing which I've noticed, like people playing it at work, like they're just constantly like crashing into walls and stuff because they're not used to like the curving small roads of London. Like they're totally used. They're totally used to like the boulevards on like GTA and stuff. So it's really funny. Like I think once you get used to it though, it's fine. Obviously, like you get used to it.
Yeah, obviously it's really funny. National Lampoon's European Vacation made the joke about Americans not knowing how a fucking roundabout works, which is totally true. I dated an Australian girl. She lived with me in the States for a while, and just off we were going to see a movie, and off the highway they just put in these new roundabouts, and it was absolutely a nightmare for everyone involved. Chaos. No one knew what the hell they're doing, and she was taking the piss a bit about like, geez, you guys really don't know what the fuck are you doing unless it's like straight lines. Like, right. Oh, there's a circle. What do you do? So that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that combined with like driving on the left and stuff like that. It's people are just like crashing everywhere into railings and stuff and just spinning out. It's funny.
Living in Japan, I'm used to that now. Right. But that will be interesting for the shoe is on the other foot, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I mean, people get used to it really quick. It's not like the end of the world, but it's super interesting. But yeah, again, not shilling out the game. Like you can make up your own minds. You watch reviews. Christ, never buy a game before you see a review.
Yeah, we talked about this at the end of the Game of the Year 2018 stuff. Where you're like, I didn't play a bad game because I was very careful about the games that I purchased.
Right, and I'm trying to push forward with that as well. Like I just bought Days Gone because it was on sale.
Nice.
And I've been playing through that. We'll probably talk about that in a couple of weeks.
Oh man, so, I'm playing Judge Eyes right now, so we'll definitely have to tackle that.
Some stuff to talk about.
Yeah. Next episode. But there's one game I forgot. My main highlight of E3, Contra Rogue Corps.
Oh man, this game looks amazing.
Holy shit, that game looks like trash. Did you see
that?
It
does. It looks like a PlayStation 2 game backwards. It looks awful.
On the Beerumvirate, I just talked about I wanted to see a new Contra game come out.
I watched that episode as well. Yeah.
And basically Burkhoff just like under my comment, he put the gif of the meme like not like this. And
it's kind of like the way I saw that game was the way that we reacted to the Resident Evil 7 game, like the trailer that was on E3, and like the way we reacted on camera, and it's like it's floating around on YouTube still. You can go and watch that, and how excited we were. Like, oh my god, it's a new format. Like it looks really cool. Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting that at all. The exact same thing happened for Contra. It was like, what the fuck is this game? This looks awful. This is terrible. Like, what is this? And then the Contra logo comes up. It's like, oh my god, what have they done to it? Kill it now. It's just sort of like this weird opposite that happened.
Yeah, and that game looks so bad.
It looks awful.
It looks so bad.
And it's like a third person game. I could trash that game for days.
I would I would trash Konami, but Konami is releasing the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, so I have nothing but great things to say about that company. It's side note before we wrap up, which we should, but as a joke, I created a sifted crew, the TurboGrafx 16 sifted crew. I posted 2 things on that crew, and the last time I posted on it, because I checked, the last thing I posted on it was in 2016, a IGN video on a news that Konami bought the rights to the TurboGrafx 16.
Interesting. There it is. Yeah. And it was there all along. We just never even made that connection.
And the funny thing is, in the comments, Ultimate, Brent was like, TurboGrafx Mini? ? And this was in
That's
2016.
hilarious.
And I was like, oh my God, Brent, do not say that. I might die. And so it was really interesting. And then it was like, that was it. It was like a blip on the map, and we didn't hear anything for 3 years. But no, that's
interesting.
That's why it's Konami. Because I scratched my head. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, that's an NEC console. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, wow, yeah, Konami bought the rights. So, yeah, I totally don't remember posting this. But yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it all came around full circle, I guess. I mean, I pray that it's good. I mean, with Konami's track record recently, they've not been doing great. So, like, maybe this will put them back on the map a little bit. I hope, anyway. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, if anything is going to put Konami back on the map, it's going to be the TurboGrafx 16 Mini.
I think that's a personal opinion, but that's okay.
All right. I think that's it. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was shown at E3 last year, and we just saw a bit more of it. So maybe that's one reason why it wasn't like the holy shit moment. There wasn't many holy shit moments in this E3, which is fine. One thing I'm disappointed that Bluepoint didn't have anything.
Don't even joke. Well, Bluepoint are working on probably something that's Sony based, and because Sony wasn't at the conference whatsoever this year, like that, they were sort of sorely missed.
Yeah.
You know, like there was definitely a hole there because there wasn't anything like huge announced. Really, there was just a lot of stuff that we already knew about, and then a lot of sort of in between games. Which, you know, no disrespect to them. Obviously, I hope there's some really great games in there. But yeah, I mean, obviously we didn't mention Cyberpunk. The main character looks like a love child, a cross between you and Mick Womble, which is sort of really funny. And like every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, it looks like Evan and Mick Womble's child. It's really weird.
Immediately going into Character Creator and changing that face.
Please. No, don't. Just leave it. And call yourself Mick Evan, you know? That'd be great.
Frankenstein's monster. What have you done?
Indeed. But yeah, I mean, overall though, it was like I said before, like at the beginning of the podcast, I think it was a quantity over quality sort of thing. But you know, I never say no to more games, so hopefully some of them pan out to be really good.
Hey, I get to play Wolfenstein Youngblood next month.
This is true, and you get to play the TurboGrafx 16 at some point.
Yeah. So
you're happy. How the hell? Like, screw you, dude. You know, just screw you. Like, I hate you. You get your favorite game of all time remade. And it turns out perfect, and then you get your favorite console.
How do we live in a world where a TurboGrafx 16 Mini comes out, but we haven't gotten a Eco remake? What kind of alternate universe is this?
If there isn't an Eco remake and a Sega Saturn Mini next year, I'm going to be flipping tables. I'm going to be swinging at people. Like, I'm not going to be happy.
Liverpool won the Champions League, and a TurboGrafx 16 Mini was announced. I am on cloud 9 right now.
Well, I'm on cloud 0. Like, someone do something, please. I'm in pain over here. All right, we need to wrap this thing up anyway. But thanks for listening to the first episode of Coffee and Beer. And if you did like it, and our ramblings of our first episode, I guess, then you can subscribe to us on, you're probably listening to this on YouTube, but you can find us at Coffee and Beer on YouTube. And if you want to find us on Twitter, like I said before, to keep up with us, then you can find us at Coffee Beer Cast. So it's not Coffee and Beer Cast, but Coffee Beer Cast. And we'll sort of keep you updated there. Like I said, we're going to be spreading out over the internet via different podcast services in the coming weeks. So you'll find out where we are exactly. And if you've got any places that you want us to sort of subscribe to, like in terms of the platform that you like listening to podcasts on, then please let us know. And that'll sort of give us a hint, because before we were sort of just doing it through SoundCloud, which sort of hit iTunes and somewhere else at once. But they were the only places that we really did it. So it would be good to get sort of feedback on that. So let us know where you listen to stuff, and we'll try and get on there as soon as we can. But other than that, man, do you want to let people know where they can find you?
Yeah, at the Stand User on Twitter and Sifted. That's about it. And shoot, I had one more thing I was going to say. I don't remember. It's probably not that important. Oh,
probably something about Yakuza or all the
Judge Eyes TurboGrafx 16. Just there's mumble in my sleep now. I was going to say the last couple episodes have been a bit long because one was a game of the year, the other one was looking back on the history of Podcast Reload, and this is an E3 episode. Yeah. The regular episodes we're going to try to hit an hour, so it'll be a bit shorter than the last couple episodes. So trying to keep it a tight 60 minutes. We'll be releasing episodes bi-weekly. That's what I wanted to get out.
Sweet. Yep. You can find me at Hillfort Games. I make little indie games as well in my spare time, as well as working at Ubisoft. So you can follow my little pixel adventures over there, because I'm trying to learn how to code in a minute. So yeah, that's all that stuff. But other than that, we shall see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll be back to talking about normal stuff and not just like crazy E3 stuff. We're sorry that we didn't speak about like the bigger games which people want to talk about, like Gears 5 and Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff. I'm sure they'll come up in conversations, but if you want to listen about that stuff, there's like a million other podcasts out there that are talking about that stuff right now. So I don't think anyone's talking about the TurboGrafx 16 though.
Oh,
so
I will be talking about it quite a lot.
Right. This is where it's at. It's at. So
your main source for TurboGrafx 16 reaction videos and general news.
Yeah, all three viewers. You can join in with all three of them.
Let's do it. All right.
It's
E3 2019
cool.
in the bucket. We'll see.
In the pocket.
We'll see you next time on the coffee.
Right. Yeah. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Coffee and Bearcast. Goodbye.
Goodbye.